All right, greetings. Send you all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Chef Coach Kwasa of Body-Culinary, professional chef, personal trainer, coming at you live here from Crown Jewel, and it's time for our Sunday coaching. So, Sunday coaching is every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, sometimes we'll go live just for a little bit on the YouTube channel, and then also we have coaching privately to address any issues that we have. Our focus in coaching is really supporting, getting support, answering questions when it has to do with our lifestyle, right? Anything having to do with whole, fresh living and unprocessed foods as a lifestyle, a daily personal movement as a daily personal movement practice as a lifestyle, garden slash nature therapy as a lifestyle. These leverage lifestyle practices are at the foundation of our self care. They are therapeutic lifestyle practices that we can apply to ourselves every day because we need therapy. We need it every single day, right? We need therapeutic practices every day. So I want to encourage you to grab your journal, your tool for self-reflection, right? Self-contemplation, so that things that come up for you, you can actually write about it. Take a lot of those thoughts out of your head and put them down on paper because there's only but so much we can hold at the forefront of our consciousness at one time. So if you're new here, I'm Kwasa, professional chef, personal trainer, natural born woman, and mother. And I'm very passionate about a natural lifestyle. Not just because the benefits of looking good, but because I'm crystal clear on the health benefits. I've worked as a trainer at Equinox, a top gym in New York, for 10 years, a little over 10 years, and trained at several fitness clubs. I've competed in fitness. I'm also classically trained as a chef, but my specialty is whole, fresh living and unprocessed foods. Why? Because I'm very, very clear um, on the benefits of these foods, the therapeutic, the medicinal, the health, the vitality benefits of what I'm putting into my body. I'm also someone that comes from a background, a family background, and patterns of self-soothing with food, self-soothing with vices and different substances. And I've seen it wreak havoc on my family personally and also my community. I'm also someone with half of a thyroid, so it's very easy for me to gain weight. And just the health implications, it's very clear what's waiting for me and what was waiting for me if I did not change my habits. And even though I've had healthy habits for a number of years, I still don't like to get comfortable, right? Because I'm constantly thinking, what do I need my body to be able to do for me, right? And I invite you to consider this. You may want to write this down in your journal. What do you need your body to do for you? How do you need your body to be able to perform in the next month, the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next year? What do you need your body to be able to do for you? You invest in it every day. You put clothing on it. You feed it foods. You sleep, in the bed. What do you need your body to be able to do, right? In terms of safety, in terms of enjoyment, in terms of being pain free, in terms of allowing you to perhaps hike up a mountain. What do you need your body to be able to do for you? So, this is our best investment. If we're not taking care of this really fine car, then it will not be able to service. It's going to break down just when we need it the most, right? So, please, if you need to reach out, if you'd like to really be part of my inner coaching circle, if you'd like to participate in the 30-day challenge of transformation, which is becoming devoted to your own life, which is a different perspective than just discipline, right? Becoming devoted to your life, reframing your therapeutic lifestyle practices in terms of becoming devoted to your own life can really make the difference. How you perceive it is everything. Context is everything. So then reach out to me for coaching. Those folks that are working with me, we meet every week. We train daily at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those folks that can't make it to the training, it is pre-recorded, and I'm looking at your workout, your feedback from your heart rate monitor every single day so that I can give you some feedback and I can give you some guidance. All right, so today, what we're talking about, today's coaching session is why do we not take our health seriously, right? Are you someone that you feel like you take your health seriously? Do you take your health concerns, right? It's easy to say, we have a tendency to parrot as women, just to say the things in society that, they sound like the right thing to say. And we'll say that we take our health seriously. Meanwhile, if we were to actually run the stats or run the numbers, where really many of us have a dangerous amount of excess unhealthy weight. I'm not talking about muscle weight. I'm not just talking about water retention, but we have a dangerous amount of unhealthy weight that we're carrying on our bodies, and it does compromise the organs. So in this day and time of body positivity and marketing, it's really dulling us to the sense of urgency to change our habits. So because of the social narrative, we just don't take it seriously. In addition to the busy lifestyles that we have, the work schedules that we have, some of us on our jobs doing the jobs and the work of 2 or 3 people, starting when it's dark outside and maybe not coming home until it's dark. And then if you throw in your children or other responsibilities and caring for elders, it's a lot. So what gets kicked to the curb is taking care of ourselves. I'm not just talking about periodically going to a spa and getting a massage, but the self-care is the movement practice, aka exercise. That is self-care, and it's not for merely the aesthetics. The aesthetics come. That's a given. We don't have to worry about the aesthetics. Many of us panic when it comes to the aesthetics because we know how we're treated in society, right? When men and women are judged on how we look, right? So we're talking about being comfortable in your own hair and skin. I would even say that your vitality and your health is the number one beauty product, right? It's nice to be able to play in all different types of fashion and makeup, but it's wonderful when you can enjoy your own hair and skin. Most of all, to be able to perform, to be able to run, to hike, when you're called at a moment's notice to go on an adventure, you can do that pain free. Additionally, when things do happen, an unexpected illness or a visit to the hospital, you want some deposits in the bank so that your immune system can handle any kind of trauma, so that your bones are dense, so that they can bounce back from any kind of trauma, so that you have enough nutrition because you're eating nutrition or nutritionally dense foods and it's in your cells. You've been doing it on a regular basis, then you have something to draw from. And if most of what you're eating is primarily recreational, right, that might be something to take a look at. Then you have calories, you have enough so-called fuel. But just because you have a lot of fuel and calories does not mean you have enough nutrition. In actuality, obesity can be seen actually as a type of starvation because there's an excess of inflammatory, right? That's the setting, the foundation of disease. It's a lot of inflammatory fuel, inflammatory calories in abundance, but there's nothing that the cells can recognize, right, to heal the body. It's just a fuel source, but a poor quality. Lots of calories does not equate to dense nutrition, right? And so this is prevalent. Even when we, it's prevalent throughout society, even when we strive to eat a bit healthier, we have to look at the ratio of real food, whole food, foods that we can deem, okay, this is good for myself. It's a small portion of the plate. When we're eating a lot of the calorically dense calories and they have so much artificial flavorings in them and color in them, do you think the body's not stupid? Your cells, let me say, your cells are not stupid. Your cells have to figure out what to do with this material that we've put into it. What should the body do with all this stuff that is great here, right inside the mouth, right? But it's not really giving what it's supposed to have gave to the cells. It's not oxygenating. The blood needs oxygen. The brain needs oxygen. Our foods are not oxygenating. They're mostly clogging. They're mostly tasty, flavorful, texture, and that's it. It's not high in fiber. It's not any of those things. So my question to you, something to reflect on in your journal, is what are the ways that you take your health seriously, and what are the ways that you're not taking your health seriously? Can you hone in on those couple of things and write it down and be firm yet honest with yourself, right? A lot of ill health comes from a lack of accountability and being dishonest with ourselves. So, for example, when it comes to an accurate accounting of our food, we have 1,000,001 reasons why we don't like it. It's tedious, it's too much, and it's, going through the app. Yet, if you can't account for anything, if you can't accurately see, how can you change? So it's interesting. It's more apps than ever. right? But most people skip out on this part, right? Well, you say after we work out or after we start our movement practice, I'm hungry. But still, we're looking to create a deficit, and the body's not used to vigorous exercise, and the body has to get acclimated, right, to new habits and new patterns, right? But one of the things we go for immediately is more food, more food. I feel hungry and starving, when in actuality, most of us have never known what it's like to starve in the United States of America. It's rare. I don't know if I've ever heard of a protein deficiency in the United States of America. Yet these are narratives that we are parroting. I need more protein. I need more protein. And if you think of who really sets the stage for more protein, it's usually bodybuilders. And most bodybuilders, as most commonly known today, more commonly known, most of them are taking exogenous hormones, right? Things from outside, PEDs, performance enhancement drugs, SARMs, all manner, TRT. Even women are taking TRT and different types of testosterone. And we can say, oh, I'm taking it for hot flashes or whatever. Yet these are artificial exogenous from outside the body. Different stimulants and hormones were taken into the body. And anything that we're taking like that has a side effect. It's just not talked about as much. So what are the ways that you take your health seriously? What does that look like? Does that look like you've been consistent? Although perhaps maybe imperfect. Have you been consistent with your movement practice, right? What is your consistent pattern when it comes to your food? Are you eating whole foods? How many meals during the day of yours are whole foods, like whole, fresh ingredients that you can recognize, right? How often are you preparing your own food so that you know exactly what's in your food? How often are you preparing it? So take a minute, jot that down. How much are you preparing your own meals, right? It might seem like a little thing, but it's a big difference, right? When you're just pouring oil indiscriminately, you're just putting salt indiscriminately, unless you learned how to measure it and you're so used to the different servings that it's easy for you to sprinkle and you can eyeball it. But for most of us, we're not really good with eyeballing, especially when it comes to nuts and seeds and oils and sugar and salt. We're not really good at eyeballing it. So that's a lot of extra calories that we're putting on. It becomes very recreational and very highly addictive. So what are the habits that you illustrate that demonstrate that you are taking your health seriously? For me, one of them is my movement practice. And I've also had moments and times where it just felt so busy, like, you know, when we open up Crown Jewel, it's like a crazy schedule. Usually, it's like I have to think, well, I'm just not missing a movement practice. This week, though, this weekend, for example, this is day 7 of the 30-day transformation. So I took a class this morning with a dear friend. That was really good. It was more gentle, so I would consider it an active rest. So I still did something yesterday. I rode the bicycle to and from the market and put lots of the produce on the handlebar. So that would be like my active rest, right? And when you consider the standard for a movement is so low, most of us are not moving enough, not nearly enough. We're just not moving enough. So we're not signaling muscle growth because we're not really asking the body to do strength training. Many of us are not consistent. Many of us, our form is bad. So if you are not getting results over time, you're going to get discouraged and you're going to stop. It is what it is. You're going to get discouraged and you're going to stop. And we want to stay consistent, right? We don't need perfection, but the consistency is necessary, right? So you can get over these different learning curves, right? There's often a lot for us to learn in terms of portions and different vegetables and different ways to prepare them. And especially also when it comes to the movement practice, aka the workout. You know, maybe you didn't realize where your knees over your toes or if you were exacerbating certain injuries. So that's another area for all of us to learn. So it's actually quite a big learning curve when we're embarking to go on a health and fitness journey, right? It really takes something, right? So coming back again to why don't we take it seriously? What are your reasons? Why do you think that we don't take our health seriously? I'll go ahead and I'll give mine. I think because we're very busy and we feel overwhelmed with the amount of demands being placed on our time. From the time we get up, projects for work, we get to work, sometimes have to stay overtime for work. So it can feel very overwhelming when it comes to uh-oh, overwhelming with our current work schedules to start to have the mindset that there's enough time to do my movement practice. Hey, greetings. Can you hear me?
Mhm. Yes, I can
Yes?
hear you.
Okay, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm recovering.
Okay. Let me see. Am I let me say something again. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that my headphones are I don't think my headphones are even on. And I'm thinking I'm talking through my headphones, but it doesn't appear. I can hear you better with the headphones off. Do I sound clear with the headphones on or off?
You
Or the
sound the
same?
same. I can hear you.
Sound the same? Okay, so let me take this off. I'm muffled um, today. This, this theme this week. Well, first of all, this is day 7 of a 30-day transformation challenge, right? And the goal is to reframe the idea of, oh, I'm going to get more discipline and getting, really enthusiastic to perhaps switch over or try emphasize becoming very devoted to our own lives, right? To see how that feels. The thought of, just like you think of people are devoted to their children, devoted to their spouse, devoted to their church, devoted to a mission, becoming devoted to your own life, right? Just the thought of that, like, how does that sound? What does that feel like to you? What kind of thoughts or feelings come up when you think of like the idea of becoming devoted to your own life? Or if anything comes up when you think of that?
Um, with devotion. I think to be devoted means to be flexible and more understanding and more compassionate.
Mhm. Yeah, it does. It also means when I think of devotion, I think of a commitment, right? When people get married, right? They're thinking one of the biggest things is like, I want this person to be devoted to me. I want this person not cheat to me. I want this person to have my back, right? We want that from other people. That is something I'm not gonna lie, we want it. Yet it doesn't occur to us. Many of we don't think. I think especially as women, we don't consider we in action don't demonstrate that we are devoted to our own lives. And that may sound away, but I'm just looking when we don't demonstrate that we are devoted to our own lives. And I'm not just talking about Millie's, oh, I'm going on a shopping spree and I'm going on these vacations. No, I'm not talking about that because those are rare occurrences. I'm saying in our everyday life, the not putting ourselves first and not putting ourselves even before our jobs. And I totally get the jobs, our livelihood, or how we pay for things. Yet putting ourselves first, we don't do it. We don't do it consistently, most of us, and we avoid it. And there's something like I said, underneath the hood. There's something there. There's something to be said for that. That's a mindset. That's a state of being and not putting ourselves first. And actually, if we were to dig a little deeper, I think we'll find there's a whole dialogue that goes along with that. There's a whole thinking and reasoning process, right? When it comes to just not being devoted to ourselves, right? So if we think of any thoughts?
It's funny that you bringing this up now because I'm kind of going through the whole process. Um, this week was challenging to say the most and the least. um, I fell back into a cycle of like being too focused on work and had other things going on in my life at the same time while I was doing the fitness. And it's not the fitness, it's not my movement practice. It's not that it's fault. It's just that, life is kind of like I don't know what it is with me, but sometimes when I feel like I'm doing very well, I automatically tell myself this is my new default and this is how it should be at all times. And once I start, thinking that way of like not being flexible,
Mm,
that's when life, hits me and shows not hits me, but like life shows up and shows me that you're human. You're gonna have times where things are gonna fall apart and you're gonna need a rest. And I did a lot of reflection on Friday and Saturday.
Mm,
As a matter of fact, I actually had I had an emotional breakdown on Friday. I was irritable real bad, like real bad.
mm,
Like I haven't had one of those episodes in like 3 months. It's the somatic therapy really did help, but if I stopped doing it for any reason, I noticed that I got a flood um of the same symptoms of depression, anxiety, being overly anxious, rumination, right? And I knew it was important. I think this whole week was more of like a learning process of me. Like it's really showing me that I have to um take the time to understand what rest means for me.
mm.
To really start to track when I have symptoms where I'm gonna like spiral out of, like when you just have down days. Um
And that's real. That sometimes you that's just life. You are gonna have down days. So it's like if we perhaps role play that stuff beforehand, right? Because sometimes we could be so inspired, like we act like that's not. We kind of pretend that that's not gonna happen. So let's say, for example, when I say like I study drug addicts and understand like you're going to likely relapse or you're going to be triggered, like that's coming. But like, no, no, I'm good now and I'm not stopping. I'm going 100%. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't occur like when people say, oh, I went back. And I'm like, kind of more so than go back. I invite people to consider that your set point never change. And it's slow to shift, just like it's really slow to put on muscle, right? You have to bust your badukas over a regular basis, and you have, building muscle, tearing it down, and then recovery. That makes it like a slow process. You can put it on, but it actually really takes time and effort. So we become so excited about, a bout of inspiration that we don't consider. I actually have a conditioned set point that exists now. This has been my set point. I'm not saying that's who I am, but this has been my set of mental habits and actions. And to be in denial about that is a setup. It's really like just stepping back. Like, let's say you bring a coach and look at you objectively, right? And I think perhaps this is another reason that it's so challenging for us. I think even subconsciously to do journals. That kind of accountability is confronting more than the food. You know what I'm saying? It's confronting, but it's not just about looking at the food. You could become overwhelmed. It's also the emotions that are attached to accountability, right? And facing what is not what we want it to be. We try to skip over the process and just glide into here's my results and I'm just maintaining. And none of the sloppy work, the embarrassment, the feelings of shame, which I would say most humans we have, the sadness, the down days, we skip over that. And that's, I think, quite dehumanizing.
I agree. On what what I've learned, what I've actually come to a conclusion that I have to. It's like layers. I'm learning that I have a issue with rest.
Mm,
Like I already come to terms with like me having down days, but the whenever like rest itself, like I actually the journaling. I still journal, and I am actually marking down when I have my breakdowns, and the journaling helps. The voice logs help because then I can replay where my state of mind was and why I was thinking the way I was thinking. And I'm seeing a pattern. I'm starting to pick up on the patterns of why um when these situations occur. And I noticed that whenever I take a break, I have there's something, I don't know if it's shame or guilt, but it's dysfunctional.
mm,
Like I'll give you an example. Um the movement all the movement practice that I have been doing is beneficial, but there are some times where I just need a week off from movement in general,
mhm,
because 2 days is not enough for my body to like completely recover. Sometimes I just want to just have a full week off and let my body recover and just do stretching or something very light, nothing heavy on the body, right?
mhm,
So I had decided to take a couple of days off, but I noticed I started becoming anxious. Like the reason why I was anxious is because I was so attached to the identity of being of the movement. You know what I'm saying? Like I was so
And so
excited.
I didn't do my workout, so I feel guilty. However,
Yes,
perhaps if you reframe it, that's why a lot of times you see why I reframe things. Why I won't say workout, I say a movement practice, right? And to me, in my perspective, spirituality is actually extremely practical. We try to go to other worlds, and we have a subconscious and parts of our being that you can't see. Yet it is actually really practical. So let's say, for example, if you couldn't do your walks or other things, right? Because this is we can be very black and white, and I think, and that's what compassion comes in. Know that I will likely be black and white because that was my set point. I'm striving to create something else, right? So let's say this week you didn't rest, you're feeling, okay, I need to go into rest. I need to rest my nervous system. Then perhaps you just switch the activity, right? But we're so holding on tight. It has to be strength training. It has to be my walk at the same place. You know what I'm saying? It's like the ego's throwing a temper tantrum. And because I didn't get to do that walk or do that workout that way, I'm not doing nothing now. You know, so it's taking me between shame, guilt, manipulate, gaslighting ourselves. It could have been something as simple as like, yo, throw some reggae on or whatever, or some dance hall and dance or whatever. I don't know if you like rock or whatever, and just dance because it's fun. Something that's another activity that's making you feel another kind of way, to give yourself options, just like the options with your food. You want to give yourself options because life fluctuates. You know, what if you got
no,
people, let's say, out of town, and you're not going to have access to your stuff, and you're in a hotel room. I used to live out of a suitcase for 4.5 years when I was traveling for an airline. You know, so that kind of flexibility, and also flexibility and movement. It's the movement in general is somatic. So even if you don't get to the walking, that's why a lot of time I won't say. You see, I'm picky with language, right? Because language is like casting spells on yourself. And the spells, the words that we think is insignificant, but if it has you feeling guilt or shame, you don't want to feel shame for feeling guilt or shame, but just to notice and observe how things are making you feel is critical to notice how you feel. Go ahead.
I completely understand, but I just wanted what I'm saying is I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be still. I don't know how to explain it. Like I didn't want to.
That's simple. If you need to be still, and that's okay too. Sometimes if you know for you, you know you. If you feel overstimulated, this week was a super stimulating week, then this might be the week that I do baths. I might need. There have been times where I took a bath twice a day because that's what I needed to do for my nervous system. And sometimes I'm like two
Oh,
days
I actually have that. I
with
actually have a magnesium bath thing going. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
so if this, let's say if that's the time where energetically, right, emotionally, I need to just soak today. Just think of, instead of a day is 24 hours. Let's say your life is one long day. Your life is just one long day, and it's like, okay, I don't need to do this right now, right? I need to soak because this is my, so I can process in another way to my nervous system. That's okay too. That might be your way of nourishing yourself for this week, and you feel like, okay, you feel a reset, and go, and you carry on. You know what I'm saying? But it's like really listening to and respecting what your needs are, right? And those needs are not, if that's you, you have to know and honor yourself, because we start comparing ourselves to other people. It should be, we get really fixated. That can kind of set us up. You know what I'm saying? So it could be, and this is looking for other things. You might be laying on the floor, free stretching, or just doing nothing, because your nervous system. There is a lot of triggering out here in this environment. This is triggeration city, on the road, at work, with people you're dealing with. So your nervous system is constantly being overstimulated. A lot of things without our permission. So for you, if you know you need to do that, that's fine. That's fine. And also, you have your journaling and the voice prompting so that you can explore, take the time to process what that's about. That's fine. That's a way of like respecting and nurturing yourself. That might be a
Mhm.
time where you can actually slow down, and it's not just about going into the app and using the food app, but to pay more attention, to turn your attention inward to how the different foods are making you feel. I hear monkeys over here. What's your state of mind when you're eating? You know what I'm saying? Because if your intelligence, your internal compass is saying, okay, I have my responsibilities. I have to do those things so I can survive out here. Um, but I'm feeling the need to rest. I feel the need to sleep, and I'm just gonna go. Let me just go down this scary rabbit hole to see what happens if I don't do my movement practice. So, and I just sleep. But then also, maybe I don't need to just emote so much with food. Maybe I really need to go into a deep rest. I'm never saying skimp on nutrition, right? Where maybe if I'm taking, I don't know if it's spirulina or your flax seeds or things that you can drink, broth and stuff like that, and you really allow your nervous system to rest and to get as much sleep as you can, and then come out on the other side, and then you reflect on what that whole period was about. You know?
I have a question because it's about okay, so it's about the incident that I had on Friday because it was different. Um, how do I say? Let's see. So everything was just like I was over like as you said overstimulated, right? I was irritable. I was angry. Everything was setting me off. Um, sounds, everything. Like I noticed that my I was sensitive to sound on an extreme end.
Mm,
I was clumsier than normal. I was getting frustrated. It was just horrible, and I was snapping at people real bad.
mm,
And then I had like a breakdown. I was mad as all heck, but after I had the breakdown, it was just I snapped right back into being able to control my emotions, and I didn't feel angry or irritated anymore. It was like a 4 hour stint where I was just out of it, where I could not focus. I was angry, irritable, mad, sad, anxious, depressed. It was a mess. And then after I got it out of my system, and I don't mean to be mean to people or anything like that, I was really trying to control myself. But then I felt like all of it was out of my system, and then I felt like I was back to how it was beforehand. And I thought that was a little disturbing. I'm like, what happened? Of course I'm
Well,
still like
disturbing about it.
I've it's disturbing because I felt like I just released a lot of pent up frustration and a lot of a pent up energy. It was like a pent up it was like a ton of emotions that I just ran right through within a couple of hours, and then I was calm, collected, but I felt bad about it because I couldn't control myself. I was aware of my emotions and I was watching me going through the whole thing, but I couldn't ignore my feelings of the emotions while it was happening. I was observing it, but it was really hard for me to like control all of it.
Why? Why do you think that was? Would it have anything, let's say, for example, to do with the environment that you're in? Let's say, for example, I'm at work and I can't go home and soak in my tub right now. I have to be here with these people and road rage, and I can't
I snapped at
I need to.
I snapped at the kids because it was okay. It was a mess. I my hours. Okay, it was just the route was heavier. Like it was a lot stressful. It was a lot more stressful. It was a lot more heavier. The kids were like going back to the whole sensory thing. It was just the chattering. I heard everything. Feet stomping,
Mm,
kids conversations, the noise outside the window and the noise within the vehicle. It was like, and then my head was like hurting, and it was just overly. I was overly stimulated. It was a mess, and I told them, please. I got up and said, please be quiet. I'm not like that. Like I was afraid for myself because I don't want to like blow up on people because that's how you lose your job. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true.
so
That's true. Though, however, if we run the tape back, like let's say we're watching a football game, right? The team, and let's do a replay. Run the play back, like boom, stop there. You take the little X, and you circle around like right there, right? Is there another way you could have processed, or even before you process, like if you could just acknowledge, like slow it down, what was leading up to it? Had you slept? Had you nourished yourself? Is it something that you were not acknowledging? You
it
know,
was that's the thing. Part of it, is going back to the whole voice journaling. I haven't been doing my somatic exercising. I slowed down on my exercising in general. Because I was just dealing with the sort. It's not the movement practice. I should have stuck with the breathing and the somatic therapy because that's what was helping me with my nervous system a lot.
so you just
And
very key. So
hmm?
let's say even though the walking does calm you and soothe you, you're working cardiovascularly and you're soothing your nervous system. If you can't get to that, then still it's like hold not going to eliminate, right? You can't
Yeah, I was just pent
get
up. I had
but
a lot going on.
to like if you look at it again, like reframe it as hygiene. We think that that's because we're thinking of hygiene as perfume and other. No, mental emotional hygiene. If once you realize I need it, it's like it's not a negotiable, right? So even if that's something smaller, you didn't have to go to the park or something, but what can you do as hygiene, as a form of hygiene? And also, when you have enough information, though, like if I don't get to brush my teeth, I'm going to be irritated. If I don't take a shower, I'm going to be irritated. If I don't go through this ritual or that ritual, if it was, let's say I'm putting a light box on my face, or I lay down for 5 minutes in shavasana on the floor, if I don't do those forms of hygiene, it really affects my ability to function. You know what I'm saying? So to give yourself, again, the grace, right? And give yourself other options for something. Because, and then reframing it, it's not about the exercise, it's about regulating my nervous system. What does that look like? And how long does that look like on a busy day, or a day where it felt like you can't get to that? You know what I'm saying? So in your mind, it's like saying, well, I didn't get to do my walking, and you feel bad. I don't know if it's just guilt, but it's like I didn't get to do. You know what? It's like I didn't get to take my time for myself. That's kind of irritating too. It's so busy. It's like, how am I gonna go get get my at the park? That can make you irritated also, because you didn't get your time in for yourself and stuff. Not to feel bad, but stuff is busy. So if I can't get it, what can I do for 5 minutes or something to actively address my nervous system? So whatever kind of somatic soothing or touching or tapping, and then in your mind it registers like, okay, I didn't get to do the other stuff, but at least I got to do this, right? So it's like staying in integrity with yourself. Does that make sense?
It does. Um, I think I just needed. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I did enough in terms of for myself. I don't think I was sleeping well. Um, a diet was fine. I wasn't sleeping well. I didn't take time to actually check in with my emotions. I think I knew it was building up throughout the week. Like, I felt irritation, but I kind of just brushed it aside, and I was just trying to handle everything as it was coming towards me, because I had other stuff going on besides work, and I'm trying to focus on trying to like, get everything fixed before it becomes a problem. And then
Mm-hmm.
my body and my mind was like, oh, now you have to take the time to take care of yourself now. I feel like all that 4 hours of me being irritable was, I should have handled it during the week. And it's not that I should have, but I'm learning that that's I, that pent up energy that I felt could have been dispersed throughout the week. And like
Mm.
what you said
It
about
would,
hygiene.
also thinking, would it have saved you? Okay, that took you 4 hours, but if, even though your time is pressed, even though you may have felt like anxious, like I don't have the time, 15 or 20 minutes could have saved you several hours.
Yeah, yeah, that too. I think I was just doing too much because I had like planned, like I wanted to save more money for this and that. But I think I was ignoring parts of myself I shouldn't have. I've done it like I've had the mind body connection from anyway though. Going back to the whole devotion thing, and like really learning what you need, like what you said earlier about like it's a slippery slope to be too obsessed with your job and everything around you, and not taking the time for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because there's gonna come a time where your body and your mind is gonna tell you to sit down somewhere and handle it. And
Yep.
Friday was humbling to me because it reminded me that I really have to like, check in quite often as I was doing before. And it was a learning lesson. Like it's like it's really important to really take care of yourself first. Like
Mm-hmm.
you
You
a
hear the rain
job will
coming
come and
down?
go.
You hear the rain?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to check in with yourself first.
And
Uh oh.
do take care of yourself first. Because if you don't, your body's gonna so where does the what's that saying go? You have to check your body, your ass can't cash, something like that.
Write a check. You writing a check that you're behind can't cash.
Yeah, and
Right,
you're
but
gonna be in a problem.
initially in your ego, you don't think, you think it's like you think you can get away with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because your mind, you can't see it; it's not tangible. So you think you can keep going, but meanwhile, not having that release, there are actual chemicals and hormones that are very active when you have repressed emotions and stress, that you don't have a way, you don't have something in place to process it. Right? So that stuff that you don't address, it builds up in your nervous system. It's built up in your mind and your nervous system. Your cells in your body, your subconscious knows that that if you're avoiding something or not addressing something, and it's gonna make you feel away. And likely that's usually a pattern or a habit. It's usually a pattern or a habit. So yeah, so to be able to recognize it, and this is also an area where it's kind of challenging. That part of our intelligence, that ego part of our intelligence, is not. It doesn't. The nature of it, it doesn't see itself. Definitely not objectively, right? It doesn't see itself objectively, so it's going to give skewed feedback, and it could be kind of like a punishing kind of tone. It's like it's a very hypercritical tone that the ego has, right? Your internal compass, your divine intelligence, is not that tone. It has a whole nother tone to it. So when we recognize, like, literally, the devotion is devotion. When I think of devotion, I'm thinking like when I used to go to the ashram, you have different monks or sannyasis that have taken vows of their life, and they're so consistent with certain things. Like I know certain people that practice yoga, like they go to yoga every year. You think like, yeah, teacher, why you can do the advanced asanas? Why would you be going back to India every year? Like, is that serious? And it is, in terms of what the practice represents for them spiritually, right? And it's like making that kind of time. Like when I look at some of these teachers, like, oh my gosh, if I think I'm getting up early, these folks, how could you be getting up before me to do your practice, right? How could you be getting up before me? I get up. Who's getting up early, earlier than me? Like, but they're consistent. It's a devotion. It's a commitment. It is a commitment, right? And so that your commitment becomes like a let's say if we're out to ocean and somebody throw you a line, what they call a lifeline. It becomes like it's your lifeline in a triggering environment. Your lifestyle practices, they are a lifeline to help bring you into the present. And I'm not saying it's easier, but it is a lifeline. It's definitely a lifeline, and we need it. We need it. Your body doesn't give two cookies about your plans or whatever. So the hygiene, you realize like, yo, I need if I don't take care of my mental emotional hygiene, it's gonna put me at a disadvantage. It could possibly knock me down for 4 hours and make me do something, because it's repressed. And if it's pressure, what pressure bust pipes? You got so much pressure, the soda bottle just explodes, right? So your hygiene is like that's how you start to reframe in your mind. It becomes like a non-negotiable. Like I have to do something for myself. It's a bath. I have to do something to regulate my nervous system. Period. Period. Any thoughts?
I agree. I don't see the situation as a bad thing. If anything, I learned a lot.
Yes, that's what's up. You got, you got, and that's what I'm saying. Most of us are trying to skip over that part. That's why our efforts don't last. We don't want to be through the resistance of our own mind, the stickiness. It's like it doesn't. There's a part of us that doesn't want to change because it's familiar. What we're doing is so crazy familiar that it'll stop us from going to like our ultimate goal. It can stop us from going to um, our ultimate goal. So if you think of like what are your rituals? If it's just a bath, or you might want to write it down. Like if it's a bath with some kind of music that's relaxing, or paying attention to like quality lyrics. It could be self massage of your feet or something, or doing your toenails. Not too extravagant. When I say in terms of adding stuff, just to be able to be present with yourself and your body to process. Think of it like this, like again, like going to the bathroom. That's the best way. One of the best ways I can think of it because it's practical. If you got a whole lot of stuff in you, or you've been eating a whole lot of produce, that stuff starts bubbling up. At some point, your body's gonna go. Even if you got a poop point, so you're gonna go. The body has to let that stuff off. And so, what are your practice that you have for hygiene to clean that stuff off? If you absorb waste back into your system, you could die, right? That's toxemia when you absorb an old waste back into your system. So you have to have like some things in place to remind you, like I need my hygiene. I need my hygiene. Just it's not a luxury. You need it to function and to function well. Thoughts?
I agree. I'm gonna start saying no to more work. I can't.
Well, just
I,
realize when you met your threshold. Sometimes maybe some weeks you have a little bit more to give, but when you recognize, okay, I'm there. I don't have no. There's nothing else that's coming out. You can't draw blood from a rock. Nothing else is coming out of here. There's nothing left extra for me to give you. There's definitely how are we giving extra and we haven't given to ourselves. If you really stop and think about it, that's nuts. That's crazy. But we do it all the time. For work especially. We don't have it to give, but we giving everybody, and we didn't give ourselves. That to me, that's part of depression, all of that stuff. These unprocessed emotions. We're on our own by ourselves trying to process all of this stuff, and it's too much to bear. The ego cannot see itself. That's not the nature of it. It cannot. It cannot see itself. It cannot. But to give yourself the space to enact hygiene for yourself, mental, emotional hygiene, it's critical. It's critical. It's critical. I see people skipping over this part. It's skipping. So when you skip over that stuff, it's not going anywhere. If anything, it's accumulating, right? The repressed emotion, and that'll make you pop off. That'll make you pop off or pop off on somebody. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I was just saying, I kind of said it while I was on mute. I was like, I was popping off on my coworkers and the kids. I was not having it. I don't know. I just was feeling awful that day. I
Mm.
know what it was. It's just, I just feel like, you know what? I just want to take a little bit of time off and just really take care of myself and process every, I actually process all the emotions and everything already. I
Mm.
feel like that 4 hours of whatever I was going through, a lot of the things I was going through is how I was in that state of mind before for a longer period of time. I don't want to go back to that. As
Mm.
I know it's a part of who I am,
What does
but
that?
like
What does that feel like?
I don't like I used to be like that for like weeks and months on end.
Mm.
Irritable, resentful, rumination, anxiety, pent up stress for months on end, and then
And then
through.
how would you finally relieve it?
I mean, I'm just saying that was what how it was before. I mean, I'm like that now, but it's not as bad as if that makes sense. Like I'm not experiencing that extreme of of discomfort as before. And now that I experienced that discomfort again, I'm like, I don't want to go back to that. I accept that it's a part of me and it may happen again, but to see the contrast between the two, I'm like, oh my goodness. I was literally, it was awful to be like having your emotions flood your mind and to the point where you can't focus or think straight or say that, think before you speak. I'm like, I don't like that.
That's deeply conditioned in there. If we could really contend with that was developed in response to our environment when we we're little, like babies. The tone that's been set. So it really takes being super intentional to be able to assist yourself and assist others.
I got to figure out how, like, every time there's got to be a way to address a moment like that
Mhm.
without jeopardizing myself.
Well,
I'm thinking about it.
you're familiar with EFT, right? Emotional freedom technique, which is basically like tapping, right?
Yeah.
Sensation, things you can do to bring yourself into your body and talk to yourself. Like, so if you keep it simple, right? But to literally do stuff to bring yourself to present, touch your heart, touch your throat chakra, then touch like the front part, base of your womb. Yeah, that goes a long way. That goes a long way. That goes a long way. But I'm proud of you, still striving.
Yeah, I'm striving. I actually do miss moving around a lot. I do miss my movement practice, but my nervous system needs a little bit of a rest. Like, I'm looking forward to walking and biking. I have plans, but I just got to address where I'm at right now, and then I'm going to jump right back into what I was doing before. I'm still excited about the journey, and I
Okay, good.
still have plans to do the things that I, plan to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too hung up on what happened as much as I just want to just share it. And I also wanted some advice or like opinions on like how it went because I thought it was a little weird
Mm.
that the whole release was insane. Um, But anyway, though,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like it's actually natural that in an ideal situation that we have people to bounce things off of. You know what I'm saying? A safe space, hopefully, to bounce things off of because it's too much, occupying your brain space at one time, and thus, also your emotions and your work schedule have to have a place and a way and a time to reframe things to bring yourself back to the center, right? Not one extreme, but to bring yourself back to the center. I think that's really useful. Yeah, it's like raining off and on here. Yeah, we have to. So, yeah, like you said, it's lessons we learn when we try to skip. I think sometimes, though, it's amazing if you sit back and think we're trying to, like, well, just my perspective, scrimp and be stingy when it comes to caring for ourselves. That's wild. That's wild. So if we scrimpy and cheat when it comes to taking care of ourselves, what else can we say? Because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, especially for all the things that are not verbal that you can't see with your own. You can't see with your own eyes. God, we have to have ways to process, make it simple, and be unapologetic about taking the time to process your emotions. So the voice journaling is good. Um, if you have pent up aggression, you might need to do something, kettlebell swings, because that kind of vigorous movement with, a heavy object can help get that stuff dislodged out of your nervous system. Does that make sense?
it does. I actually used the right after I had that incident. Like when I got home, I actually went and cleaned and threw a ton of stuff out while my mind was calm and collected.
And
I
you
was
take
like, okay,
advantage of it.
yeah. It was like, oh my god, why am I calm and not mad? And my mind was clear. It was empty, and I just started throwing things out. So my place is a whole
How
lot
you
less.
doing with decluttering, by the way?
It's going better now. I threw out two more big trash bags of stuff,
I'm like, how does
and
she have trash bags? But then I do understand because it took me years to downsize. Years, years, years,
it's
years,
like
years.
old stuff. Like I thought I got rid of all my old hair stuff, and I still had some stuff that I had packed away somewhere. And I went in, threw it all in a bag, and threw it out. And now I got a little bit more space, and I'm happy for the space.
That
There's
was
more stuff I need to throw out too. I did throw out some clothes. I threw out another trash bag worth of clothes. I want to downsize even more because I don't use all my clothes. I got
yeah.
rid of
But
most of
also,
it.
if you think of what your lifestyle is, right? That you have clothes for your lifestyle. Like I like dresses and stuff like that, but I realized a lot of my lifestyles, like I might jump down on after this call down onto the ground and look at my fenugreek plants, or go down to the river and pull water with the water bucket to the watering can to water these flowers. So if I put on certain things, they're gonna get messed up, and I have my outdoor stuff, but all very very simple in the name of in the effort to really streamline everything. I need stuff streamlined, 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 streamlined.
I'm
Yep.
getting there. I want my environment really simple, like as simple as possible. I'm getting there. I got a lot more space. Really helped though. Um, what else? I don't think I threw out anything. I threw out a lot of stuff. The garbage truck already took it. I can't get it back. I
Oh,
was like, oh, it's
great.
gone. It's gone. And it was stuff that I have to work on. There's one aspect of myself that I have to work on, which is um part of like having ADHD is like having a lot of different projects, and I
Mm,
usually collect things to do those said projects. That's part of the reason why I have a lot of stuff to throw out.
mm.
Like if I get really focused or interested in something, I do a ton of research and then I buy all the stuff to do the project. And then I get like halfway through it, and then either I lose interest or I get distracted by work or life, and it just sits there. So a
Mm.
lot of stuff that I threw out yesterday and the day prior were like a wig stand, the mannequin head, some more curling irons. What else? I didn't
Head.
even know I had another box of wigs. Huh?
The mannequin
Hmm?
head.
I had a mannequin head. Yes, you can what you it's like a wig. It's a whole thing.
Does
Like
it have like the wooden stand?
No, it's like okay, it's like the tripod. It's like, okay, you know you have a
Got
camera with a tripod, right? So it's a tripod stand, and
right.
you put like the little white little cloth mannequin head on it. And the way, because I was into wigs, really into wigs, and I would get like the wig pins. You can style the wig on the mannequin. I
Nice.
mean, with all that, all I
I
had
like
all the whole setup like a stylist.
creative. You get to play and be creative with your stuff.
It was fun. That phase, but honest to God, that phase is over with. I'm done. I made my peace with it. So when I threw out the two mannequin heads, the last couple of wigs I had, a lot of curling irons.
You threw it
What
out.
else? Yeah, I threw it all out. And then
Wow.
part of me was like, oh, I could use it. I'm like, no, that phase is gone. I need the space. So I just threw it out.
Interesting you say that.
It was a phase. I
I
ain't gonna lie. The
I
wig was a
declutter all the
phase.
time. I declutter all the time. Go ahead. You gonna say something else?
Um, what else did I throw out? Some other stuff. I had like a lot of crap that held on for years. It was just random stuff I had around the house. I just chuck it in the bag, and I felt so much better.
Mm.
I still feel tired mentally, but like,
Makes you feel like I find it makes you feel light. I know this week I let go of two pairs of jeans that were actually really beautiful pairs of jeans. I like the cut. I didn't even have to hem them. The fit was nice, but I was like, you're not reaching for these for a reason. What's the reason you're not reaching for these? I was like, because it's just a teeny bit uncomfortable. And I was like, no, that's why you're not reaching for it. So it doesn't matter. I was like, and now you don't have the space and the bandwidth to wear what you really want to wear because these two things are in limbo. Some stuff got to go because it's too much. I find it like overwhelming. Even we have had conversations about decluttering, aesthetic, finding what makes you feel comfortable, and there are a lot of things that I like. But I realize I actually find it stressful managing too many clothes. I find it stressful. I'm even starting to notice that certain colors, I may like the color, but they might make me feel more anxious or more so than just feeling anxious. I find that like always natural colors like tan, beige, light woody colors and white make me feel very relaxed. So I like red. So for example, here's the deal I made with myself. Okay, so it's a shirt that I really like. The shirt. I really like the fabric. I really like the fabric. Um, but I was like, you're not reaching for it for a reason. So I was like, because it's like a pop of red in my wardrobe, and I decided, well, I'm gonna let it go. I like it. It's nice. I really, but I decided just to go with a red scarf or a red ribbon on my hat because I also felt like I need to the priority for me is to have less stuff to manage. I really like the shirt, but I was like, you have so much stuff you can't even wear all the stuff you like because I got rid of a lot. So I've just come to pieces that I can't for me have too much stuff. I find it's a headache. It's a job to manage it. I don't want to manage a whole bunch of hair. Playing in it and being creative and light and then going up and it takes me a little bit of time if I feel like it. That's one thing. But having to oil and having to detox my hair I I tell you, I'd rather cut it. It's too much to manage. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't want to do it. So I made peace with like, okay, because it's one thing coming from a fashion point. What colors look best on you? Okay, some colors look nice, but I realized the colors feeling calming to me is important. And one time I thought I could not wear a lot of white, even though I like white because I was like it gets dirty, so I didn't think it was functional. But I realized I like white and beige. It's not just aesthetically, but I find it's calming. Too much red, too much tutti frutti colors. I was like I can have a couple of accents, but I realized it's too much for me to manage. I find it stressful. Even like makeup. I mean, like I find having to do too much stuff to myself, it feels stressful. And I was like, and it's only for me to understand, right? To come up with, to really pay attention to what feels good to me. So check it. When I let go of the jeans, I'm always observing my internal dialogue. And I was like, wow, these are two. And I took them out of the closet. I got four pair of jeans. Um, and I was listening to my internal dialogue. I was like, wow, these are beautiful pants. Look at this stitch. You don't have to cut them out. I was like, yeah, but you don't reach for them. And even if they're a little bit uncomfortable, it's hot and I'm on the bike and I'm riding to another town, they don't feel comfortable. I said, well, here's the deal. I can fold them and I can put them, just take them off the shelf so I visually don't see them. It's less clutter, more space inside the closet. I'm just going to put them away and I can always come back and get them. And I felt such a sigh of relief when I took them out of the closet. And I was like, wow, they're not coming back. And I was holding on to them. I was like, Because, and I also realized, you know how you go outside, you have your play clothes and you have your school clothes, your church fancy clothes. I realized that just in case mentality that I was holding on to, I'm a very much just in case inside my bag. I got water, I got a knife, I got napkins, but in case something happens, I got something to hold on to. You still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, a
You
call was
just
trying to come. It bumped this out for a second. So I was saying, I realized, oh, I almost lost my train of thought. But basically, I'm saying I'm noticing how different things are making me feel. So the priority over the fashion is that I feel like how you feel overstimulated. I feel overstimulated by too much stuff having to do with my hair or having to worry about my hair, too much clothes, and too much colors. And I realized I felt a sigh of relief from holding on to these two beautiful pairs of jeans. I was like, wow, these are costly. And if my other jeans get messed up, then I have these two to come back to. But I was like, once I let it go, I was like, just not having as much to deal with. It has more, when I'm always talking about leverage practices, it's like it's a leverage, it leverages my energy because I feel lighter because I can see like what I have, what I own, and I find I mix and match my clothes better. I feel a tremendous sigh of relief from not having to manage so much stuff. Does that make sense? You still there, Lily?
Oh, I thought I actually pressed the button. I said it does.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of
And I
the
was
reason.
resisting it for so long. I was holding, and then I said, "Oh my gosh, this is a pattern. You have a lot of just in case stuff." And it's a weight and it's a distraction. I can't get to the things I really want, even if it's less stuff. But if it's more stuff that you enjoy, the less stuff is like me trying to carry like bag lady. Like so I'm hurting my back. I'm carrying too much stuff and I don't wear it. I can't physically it's like I can't physically eat all of this food. I cannot physically wear all of those clothes. I can't do it. It's too much for me to manage. I can't. It's stressful. So it doesn't matter. That might not be somebody else's experience, but that is my experience. So I just honored it. But I couldn't believe the sigh of relief from me making that decision. Then I realized that that is a pattern of holding on to stuff just in case. So now it's got me looking at other areas of my life where I'm holding on to stuff for just in case, and it's blocking me from being fully present. It's blocking me from really enjoying the things I really want to wear because I'm going to hold on to these two expensive pair of jeans that don't need hem and they fit me nice. They look real, but I was like, yeah, but I cannot manage all of that stuff. But it was such it seemed like a simple thing, but I feel like a distinct sigh of relief, and it gave me insight into how I'm operating. I was so resistant for the longest time holding on to this stuff. And periodically, when I have those experiences, it helps me go in and let go of more stuff. Because I'm just not wearing all of it. I cannot manage all of this extra stuff. So it's like learning to honor yourself, not ignore things that are coming up for you. Because we feel obligated to hold on to what I spent on, and this person gave this to me, but we're trying to carry too much stuff in an emergency. You can't carry all that stuff. It's just overstimulating.
I agree. The just in case mindset. I've been doing that for years. And it was part of my survival mindset, the scarcity mindset. That's how I thought for a very long time. It took a lot for me to throw out things that are worth a lot. But the way I see it is, I always, as long as I'm alive, I'll always have the opportunity to get those things back anyway. So let it go.
And then what if you give it to somebody that could really use it, sell it? If you don't have the time to do a whole production selling it, you might really put it in the hands of somebody that could really enjoy it, and it might be a benefit to them and just let it go, in the universe. But the psychological space that it frees up, oh my gosh, it's that there's so many intangibles that we underestimate. Like rest, we underestimate how much rest can be. Sometimes we think we're hungry and it's not hunger. The hunger is for rest because it's not true hunger. We got excess fuel. You go and you sleep for a while. Do you know you will drop weight from rest? You'll drop inflammatory weight from rest. When you need it, take it. Take it. I would also say though, if you're aware of how much fuel you need, then that wouldn't be the time to eat excess, right? Because if you know you're not burning it off, right? Your car only needs but so much gas. So once you're aware, which you have I think a working knowledge of, different scenarios of days of food, how much fuel you need, and you know that it's got fiber, it's like nutrient dense. So in the days we are resting, that's not necessarily the time to eat so much calorically dense food emotionally, right? And really use that as time. I'm never saying deprive yourself of nutrition, but allow your body to process the fuel and energy you have. That actually is that's when people, when they do fast, when they do get energized, because you're not siphoning off all of that energy to digest food. You still
That's
I'm
okay.
gonna
So
end
this
the live so I can talk to you about some other stuff and end the live.